What's good, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. And today, guys, I want to talk to you all about the Nargacuga in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I luckily finally got to actually fight him, and we fought him a few times on my stream last night. This actual footage you're seeing right here is ripped directly from my stream, so if it's not of the highest, utmost quality, that's probably why. However, it gives you enough to actually see, well, it allows us to see enough to see what the Nargacuga is really essentially all about. Now, the first thing I noticed when I fought Nargacuga was his hitboxes. I learned that Nargacuga used to be pretty weird when it comes to this particular attack right here that you're seeing on the screen, where he would throw his hind leg back and sweep it back forward and throw his tail around and try and hit you. It would hit you if you were directly in front of him somehow. That no longer seems to be the case. With that no longer being the case, it makes Nargacuga himself a lot easier to fight up close. So if you're like myself, who likes to get real close to fight the monster, it makes it a lot easier to do so because that hitbox is essentially gone. So for the most part, when you are playing, remember that you have to kind of forget the way in which you used to fight Nargacuga, because he's a little bit different, due in part to the fact that a lot of things that used to be a nuisance or stuff that you would actually feel to be part of his kit is no longer there. Now, I know that sounds a little odd, but outside of a couple of hitbox fixes, he's essentially the same monster for what I've actually been to fight. He does have a couple of slight changes to certain attacks that he actually has. He has the tail slam, of course. Now, if I'm not mistaken, which I really shouldn't be because I've been playing lots of 3 Ultimate as of late, Nargacuga has never had a double tail slam. Regular Nargacuga has never had the double tail slam or even the double tail spin. That was reserved for that of green Nargacuga. I know for a fact the double tail spin was green Nargacuga, but he does have these things now. Now, essentially, he will do the double tail slam about as often as he does the regular tail slam, but there's a bit of a delay when he does it. Now, the delay is much more than that of what it used to be. The delay now is pretty significant, but it's actually pretty cool, nevertheless, to know that he actually has the double tail slam and the double tail spin. He also has a retreating tail swipe. That's actually really, really nice. That gets me off guard every now and then, but we'll talk more on that once we get to it in a minute. But next, I want to speak briefly on his movement, and Nargacuga himself moves quite efficiently in this game, more so than he used to before. He still like stealthily prances around as if he is still Tigrex, but lighter steps is what it feels like, lighter steps. But he does this more often. He will traverse the area in a multitude of different ways. He can jump around you as a character, or he'll just walk around you. Like, what would you even call this particular type of movement? I don't know. When I get the answer, I'll put it on the screen for you all to know. But he will do this more often. He likes to move around and reposition himself constantly, and it's really, really cool. It adds to this cat-like appearance that he has that he doesn't really fully encompass up until, honestly, like now. I feel like this is the best iteration of him to date, next to that of maybe the Lucid Nargacuga, which we will probably never ever get ever again, because for whatever reason 3 Ultimate seems to be the game no one likes except me, which is piddle because it's the best game in the series. But I digress. Nargacuga at its core is Nargacuga that you remember. A couple of new tricks, a couple of things here, there, and there, but for the most part, he is still Nargacuga. As of late, though, one thing I've been noticing about Nargacuga is that the game developers themselves have slowly been increasing a lot of things about him, making him closer to that of like a real flagship monster. For the most part, he's been ranked as a tier 2 monster, and even has health and his skills for, not necessarily skills for his armors, but his defenses and his rarity for his armors and weapons tend to reflect that. But in this game, or definitely in this game, he's actually considered to be a tier 3, right in line with a flagship. How do we know this? In fact, he will get into a turf war with the Rathalos, and it will be a tie. Now, we know the Tigrex. The Rathalos is the apex monster to this particular area, the ancient forest, and Nargacuga came to invade and see what is really, really, really good. And to know that Nargacuga can actually go toe-to-toe with the Rathalos, that lets you know that they're equals. So this is the game that I feel that if the actual game in which he wasn't a flagship monster didn't solidify his ranking, this is the game that actually solidifies it to be thusly. So For the most part, Nargacuga is celebrated today as a full-on flagship monster, not just in name, but also in full regard to the fact that his abilities to do the damage to you, which is pretty high, he hits very hard, on top of his gear and whatnot, will be justly. So that's cool. Because I kind of felt like it was really odd. He was the only flagship monster who would have rare 2 gear. All the other flagship monsters would have rare 3. Now, I say this because in Monster Hunter, you have rare 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, once you get past 3, you go into 4. 4, 5, 6, and 7 is high rank. 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth is G rank. But for the most part, most monsters are introduced in the low rank. Those who aren't introduced in low rank, you can still kind of technically put them in line with those who are introduced in low rank in high rank. So high rank monsters who were rare 3s will probably be rare 7s. We'll see not rare 7s, rare 6s, because that's kind of what the boat they tend to lie in. Nargacuga would actually be in this 5/2 range, making them not that fly. But this game, I feel he's going to really get his rocks off. He's going to be that guy. He has lots of health. Took me 13 minutes to kill him on my first attempt. I do cart in this particular run very close to the end. I was actually very annoyed because the movement that I was talking about before, he really comes into himself. He does a lot of moving around, and it makes it very hard for someone as slow as me to actually land a hit. And because he moves so quickly and a lot of these attacks are actually actual attacks, him just moving around is an attack in and of itself. Getting in close with the lance or maybe even other weapons that rely on you to throw your whole body at them could probably pose a different quandary. Like, whenever he's enraged, he is definitely on the move. He's definitely on the prowl, doing all sorts of things. I want to say maybe I will go in here again without a palico if I can, because he was, if I'm to be understood, he was targeting my palico or just literally everything else way more than he was just targeting me. Like in this particular sequence right here, you'll see that he'll attack me at one point, then run around this way. Then when I get close, he runs the other way. Then I'm whiffing. Then he's whiff punishing. It's ridiculous. It gets a little out of hand. But all of this adds to his worthiness, and in that particular regard, I can full on respect him now, because before I didn't really respect Nargacuga at all. People liked him a lot. I necessarily didn't really hate him. It was just I never had that same love for him, probably because I'd never actually played Freedom Unite. But nevertheless, he's here, and it was a pretty cool fight. Really nice fight. I enjoyed myself with it. It was pretty tough. All things considered, it actually really was tough. I didn't think I was going to, well, I didn't expect a cart, but I didn't think he was going to put up this much of a challenge. But he definitely did. And I was afraid that I was going to cart, but when I did cart, I respected it. He has lots of attacks that do incredible amounts of chip damage. The tail slam has been buffed. It's been pretty slappy before, but it got to the point where I believe at one hunt I was about 80% health. He tail slammed me and killed me instantly. So I want to say he was enraged, but still, regardless, tail slams usually they do kill. It is his kill move, but I've never had one kill me in such a high amount of HP before. So he hits hard. He moves a lot. He has a lot of really cool movements, but he's still Nargacuga at his very core. So if you remember fighting Nargacuga in any capacity, you won't go into here completely blind or not knowing exactly what's going to be going on. However, I will say his movement is definitely something to really watch out for, because he will be moving quite a bit. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I can really give you guys on my first experience of Nargacuga. What I will be doing over the coming days, months, weeks, whatever, is I'll be breaking down every single attack he has and comparing it to other attacks that he's had throughout the series thusly. So that way, when the game actually comes out, when Iceborne actually comes out, Nargacuga will be on everyone's hit list and will be the one monster no one should be afraid of, because I've given you all the tools you need to actually know exactly what this monster will and probably die trying to do. But with that being said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching today. You can continue watching the video. I'm not going to commentate the rest of it. It's just me finishing up the hunt. I didn't really have too much to say about the monster. I just want to give my piece on him. The fact that he is the same but also slightly changed. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming and kicking it. I'll see you on the next one. The next one should be more Generations Ultimate stuff. And then afterwards, shortly, I'll be giving you guys that video that I told you where I'll be breaking down everything I have about Nargacuga. But as I speak right now, I'm going to jump back into the beta itself and record more footage so that way I can get all this information for you guys. Take care.